Domino might be the weakest character in this update to get a uniform, but I bet by the end of this video, I'll have you convinced that she's actually good. Now, in trying to convince you that Domino is a good character, I have an uphill battle ahead of me when it comes to PvE. It's certainly not her strong suit, and it's probably no surprise to you when we just got Luna after Spider-Gwen, after Gamora, after Shadow Shell, after so many strong speed female heroes. It was just inevitable that we would get one that was PvP focused. And yeah, Domino is absolutely PvP focused. She has a counterattack third skill with iframe ignore. She has a lot of things that make her obviously, much more, built up. She has the tools. She's much more set up to succeed in PvP. And there are quite a few PvP characters that you want to take down with speed types. And right now, besides Spider-Man, there's just not a lot of good options for PvP. For speed types. So it does fill a need, but for the meantime, we're going to focus on not only what her abilities can do damage-wise, but also what they look like in terms of the animations, because she does have some pretty nice animations, particularly if you are a fan of dominoes, like literally dominoes. You can see them on her third skill as well as on her fifth skill. It's a little bit harder to see on 5. I'm not going to lie. It's really easy to see on 3 because they're floating all around her. It looks really cool. But on 5, you actually see them on the bottom of the screen, sort of underneath the ground. Now, I haven't been doing a rotation this whole time, so the damage has been a little bad, but if you want a rotation for Domino, you're going to want to do 3, cancel 4, cancel 5, and you're going to proc on 5. You can do a delay on 4, so she throws out these bombs, but it's going to make it much more difficult to then proc on 5, so unless you're using a rage, I don't really see that as an option. Instant canceling the third skill means you're not going to get the counterattack. You're not going to see those extra animations, which kind of sucks. But on the flip side, it is a lot easier to proc. So you have really 2 choices there. You can play her super casually in PvE content, and you can, be on lower stages if that's your thing, or maybe slap a rage on her if you want to do that. Or you can go with a proc and go with just a very aggressive 3 cancel, 4 cancel, 5 option, where you're procking on 5 and you're letting it rip. The 6 is also instantly cancelable with Warpath, and then you're getting that Frenzy buff from 4, and that's why you want to cancel or that's why you want to make sure you press that one before you press 5. Oh, there we go. There's her counter skill. It looks so much cooler in PvP, but it's not bad in PvE either. This is really not where she's going to shine, so I don't want to stress this too much, and I also don't want to try and do a full run here because it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, if you want to play her in PvE, you will play her in PvE, regardless of how strong she is, right? So that's just what it looks like. That's a suggestion on the rotation. But that damage was also pretty low because I have a PvP build on her. I have a top 100 build on her, so it's by no means a bad build. And you can see here, we don't have any Odin's Blessings just yet, but we do have a bunch of 6-star HP Uru, and we're just over 110,000 HP. We have rank 5 type enhancement. We have a Power of Angry Hulk stage 12 with no artifact, and then we have a Mighty Egg. So that was just her raw damage. Again, even with, in my opinion, a Mighty CTP of Energy or some sort of stacked PvE CTP, she's not going to compete with Luna. She's not going to compete with Shadow Shell and Spider-Gwen and Gamora. She just can't, right? Sure, she can compete with speed mutant female heroes, but you're talking like Rogue from 2 years ago. So I just don't think it's a comparison that A, makes sense, and B, is really fair, because clearly they built Domino for PvP. So trust me, when we go into PvP now, you're going to want to see this. Here we go, PvP Domino. Let's see what she can do here. We have just a generic team with Colossus support, as well as Strife's lead and passive debuff. We're going to see that counter in action. It does a shit ton of damage, and it allows her to clap back against a lot of characters. It allows her, actually, with all the iframes, even allows her to, for the most part, avoid physical reflect. Now, she's still going to be vulnerable to one-shots, as most characters are, but I think it's impressive that she has enough damage out of the gate to take down even a Thanos for PvP in one shot. Ideal scenario will have you stalling for about the first 7 to 8 seconds before you switch into Domino if you are using a Domino-centric PvP team, just because you're going to allow that third skill to come off cooldown so that she has enough time to punish, to jump in and immediately punish characters who iframe. So there you can see she has the damage as long as she's set up properly to take down, you know, metas in PvP, even with Colossus support. And you can see there that if she doesn't die, she has a really good chance of getting a lot of powerful hits in. So it's sort of like Spider-Man, not quite as strong as Spider-Man in my opinion. So certainly not as strong as Spider-Man, especially because she has no access to tier 4 and because she has no, you know, Giga Dodge artifact. But certainly not a bad character either. Now, she's going to struggle against the strongest of the strongest meta, like Wolverine and Jean. Wolverine, obviously, she struggles versus because of the type advantage. Jean, she's going to struggle against because Jean just pumps out way too much damage with every single skill, and Domino just doesn't have enough tankiness to really survive. If Jean had gone back to being a blast type, and then she had that advantage, then that would put her in a better position to do well. But as a universal type, she gets no penalty versus Domino, so she actually gets an advantage. And that's one of the reasons why Domino can actually, in some cases, tank Adam's second skill. If you build her tanky enough, because she reduces incoming damage from blast types, you do have a situation where she's a little bit set up. I'll show you what she does against Wolverine. It's basically nothing. Again, this issue here, type advantage really matters. I mean, hey, she triggered his artifact. No shit. She triggers his artifact on a Wolverine that has Agreed. Wow, I actually didn't even think she was going to trigger the artifact. That was honestly more impressive than I expected. And certainly not a top 5 meta, and I don't want to sell you guys on, you know, Domino's the next big meta, guys. She's going to shift the meta. No, I certainly don't believe that. But on the other hand, do I think that she's bad for PvP? No. Actually, the opposite, in fact. I think she actually has value for PvP. I think you just have to put her in a position where she can thrive, and that can be difficult at times with a meta that's so heavily dominated by Jean. There I was trying to get the third skill off. I was trying to sort of play manually, but Jean is just a little bit too strong. I think Jean is probably... Wow, my game crashed. Apologies there. I've been having a lot of crashes lately, but it's good to show you guys in a video so you know you're not alone if you've also been experiencing a lot of crashes. Now, I say this knowing that a lot of people experience crashes who just have bad devices, have old devices, etc. My device is fairly new. It's only like a 1.5 or 2 years old tops. But yeah, I've been experiencing a lot of crashing since the latest update, so that is happening to me. But let's try this team here. But yeah, besides Jean, I would say Domino does pretty well against the meta, and she will have a place in it whenever Jean is banned. So I would look out for her in something like Otherworld Battle when the month rolls over, and I'll talk about why the month needs to roll over for her to be good there, because right now females and heroes are both being punished. So she's doing really well against Wolverine right now. I'm actually shocked. Okay, that lasted way longer than it should have. And I recognize that this showcase might not be that impressive to some of you guys who are expecting PvP metas to just one-shot everything constantly. But PvP right now is really oppressive. With Wolverine and Jean Grey and Adam, aka 3 native tier 2s, largely dominating the PvP scene, it's very difficult for any non-native tier 2 to do anything. And I know you're impressed by Strife here, but surprise, surprise, he's another native tier 2. So, you know, let's not get it twisted here. Native tier 1s outside of Spider-Man struggle. I mean, look, as fast as he came in, Hulk is already on his way out of the meta. Carnage is hanging on by his artifact, and, you know, etc., etc. So yeah, for right now, I would say I wouldn't even bother trying a Domino in Otherworld Battle. I think she'll be great for Alliance Conquest. I think she's reasonably good for Timeline Battle. But she will be good, in my opinion, for Otherworld Battle because of all these bans, right? Jean and Wolverine being banned, this is the perfect situation for her to shine, and particularly when they target a lot of the other combat types, like when they ban Hulk and Wolverine or Carnage and Wolverine, there's not a lot of other combat types, right? The list really whittles down, and then people start using a lot of universals like Kang and Doom. They start using blasts like Strife and Blue Dragon. And then that leaves the door open for speed types, right? And most speed types are PvE centered, so having a PvP centered one is very interesting. Now, you're going to have to wait about 2 weeks for the battlefield effects to rotate. You can see there the change ends in about 13 days. But the reason why I'm saying don't try Domino right now is because she is not only a superhero, which means she takes 400% increased damage, but she's also female. So then she deals 500% less damage. I genuinely don't think she can do anything with those 2 penalties. So yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate situation for Domino, where she's coming out at a time where the devs are pushing native tier 2s in Timeline, and then they're pushing universal villains for the most part. At least male villains in Otherworld Battle. But I genuinely think she's a good PvP character. I was actually shocked at how good she is, and I think only, you know, with time she'll be even better. Now, she definitely needs a very good build, so I wouldn't, you know, I would be cautious of giving her a mediocre build and expecting her to do well. But I think you can find some success with a refinement, as I have. I think you can also find some success with a Mighty Authority. That one, again, her healing is a little bit suspect, but the Authority will give her damage reduction. I believe she already has some native damage reduction. She has 30%, so stacking even more will be nice. But I think outside of an Authority or an Egg, you don't really have a lot of options. You could maybe go with a brilliant regen, only a brilliant with like 90% penetration, sort of like built sort of like Punisher. I would consider her sort of like a slightly better version of Punisher's latest uniform. But actually, you know what? With the discount, I'm going to go ahead and unequip this Egg, and I'm going to run a couple more here and try with this Mighty Authority. I'm actually really curious to see if an extra 25% this, you know, damage reduction helps. So, hey, you guys are getting a 2-for-1 here. We're going to go ahead and fight these same teams that we fought before. All right, let's see how this Mighty Authority works. 25% damage reduction. Is that better than what the Egg was giving me offensively and defensively? Now we pop. Ooh, she gets one tapped. Okay, well, the Authority can't do anything if she's getting one tapped. This team actually was the one that Domino more or less swept. So let's see if we have a completely different result this time, or if we get something similar to what we had last time. She should open with the third skill. There it is. And not enough damage to kill Spidey that time. That's pretty annoying. And this is probably going to be death for her. Ooh, she survives. Wow. So quite a bit tankier, but not doing enough damage. Wow, that's a big shocker. There, the Authority versus Egg basically has no difference. If anything, the Authority gives her more damage than the Egg because the Authority has accumulation. Now, I didn't point this out in the PvE portion of the video, but she has accumulation based on damage taken on her third skill. You still want to cancel out of that one immediately when you're playing her in PvE. She still gets the buff. It's just more about getting hit, which I find to be kind of a frustrating way of playing characters for the most part, besides like a Sharon Rogers, and who's like designed to do that. But that is part of her kit. However, we can't seem to get any teams down now. I don't know if it's really the Egg or if it's just bad luck, but the Egg is vastly outperforming. See how she performs against this very unorthodox team here with Silver Surfer. She gets the first kill on him. Let's see if she can ramp and if she can set up properly, how this is going to end up looking. She takes a bunch of reflect damage, so she's not really in a good position right now to tank. But hey, the Authority popped there, and it did activate and give her some invincibility. There it is again. Ooh, not quite. She was really close to popping the third skill counter again, but it was just a little bit short of time. A little disappointing there. Oh, and the awakening skill was going off at the same time. That was kind of cool. I found a full blast meme team on the top of the Vibranium leaderboard. So let's see if Domino can make this work at all. This should be, you know, this should be a feast for her. Can't seem to do enough damage. Holy crap. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very unimpressed with the Authority. I think I'm actually just going to spend the extra 400 crystals and go back to the Egg, because the Egg at least was giving her a bit more survivability, but now she's dropped about 15k HP. She has basically just the healing on that one skill. So I find this to be quite a bit worse, but hey, maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Domino, what your build is, and how you've you know, gone on with her as far as PvE and PvP goes. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.